All right, this is Crom Update number 10. My name is Kurt Brugel, and I'm working on the revised edition of Crom the Barbarian. I've been reaching out to some true sword and sorcery artists, and I have with me for the third time Drawnsword. How are you,
Hey,
sir?
yeah, going good.
And what people are seeing right now is on your camera is the finished commission piece for Crom Pinup, and you have it Crom the Conqueror, right? That's the title for this piece.
I actually called it Crom the Courageous, but
Crom the Courageous.
is
All
that
right, all
okay?
right, we can go. Yeah, no, however it goes. And then you have sent me a copy, and then I've blown it up, and I'm doing a variant ink version that I will play around with, to get people even more dazzled about the Crom collected. But uh, last episode you were on, we you were almost completed. Can you tell us what it was that you had to do to get yourself to completion on this drawn sword?
I wanted to define some of the spider god, um, with it. Yeah, just define some things in the background and just make sure everything was distinct from each other, because there's a lot
Right.
going on there. Yeah, there was
Yeah, because
just a bit of dark. There was just a bit of darkening to go on.
yeah,
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
let us in. You let us in on your process where you start up at the top left hand corner once you have things laid out, and you just render from there. So last time we had you on, you were pretty much completed in, let's say, like a first pass rendering. Then what you're saying is you had to kind of go back in and maybe make the spider god creature a little bit darker, and then create some more value, in the background. And of course, we have the gal
Yeah,
tied up in the spider webs back there.
yeah,
So you posted a really sweet video on your YouTube channel, which I'll put a link down below. It was just giving a taste and a teaser of other works of yours, and two things struck me pretty square in the head when I saw it. The first thing was is you have a are you familiar with H.R. Geiger, his work, or Giger,
yeah.
however you,
Yeah, I am.
because I have a feeling you have a really strong connection to his process because of uh, the way the surface is worked. I want to say flat in one sense of feeling, but all the sensitivity in your way of rendering. There's these then subtle planes of distance. Is that something that's conscious to you?
Yeah, it wasn't originally like that. You know, um, quite a lot of years ago, it would all be hard to see. It would just be like all this detail, and you'd have to look at it a long time to pull everything
Yeah,
out. But
right,
over time, I've consciously, you know, lightened the background, things
right.
like that.
Do you erase? Do you erase to try to get some of that back in?
I have a little with putting mist in and things like that, or maybe some highlights.
But you're
Yeah,
still
I've got
all
one of
just pencil.
those. I've got one of these um,
Oh
uh,
yeah,
a mono zero eraser
right, right.
Tombow. Yeah, and the rubber comes out the end, and
Like a
they're really
pencil.
good because you can get in there and define bits, rub out fine bits. without destroying, something.
Right, right. Yeah, because one of the things about H.R. Geiger's work was obviously I came across him because of airbrushing when I was a teenager in high school. And of course, if you got any kind of magazines on airbrushing, he was always in there. And one of the things that was always sort of magical about his work is, you start with white piece of paper, you start rendering all this, this black and gray values, but then he would then start masking and laying down white. And that, until I got to art school, just completely blew me out of the water. Like, I had very little comprehension on how the heck that
Oh,
works.
yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like now, as I've even developed, like I said, I'm noticing in your work this very close relationship to, like I said, dealing with the surface, and then just kind of playing with the subtlety from here to there. Because yeah, it's a joy to look at your work, because I can't just look at it and go, oh, that's what that is, and move on. I literally go, holy, what is that? Oh, look at that guy. And then so it's constantly revealing itself as you take the time. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, when I came across your work, that was the second reason I made the decision to reach out to you to see if you wanted to play with Crom here, because I absolutely find it just spectacular and unique.
Yeah, it's really an enjoyment just going in with all the detail. Like, you hear some artists say that they find that side of it tedious,
Right.
and they really don't enjoy that part of it. But I do. I'll put on some music, or sometimes I'll just have silence, and it's like a meditation.
Yeah. That was
I'll just
actually one of
go
my
on.
other. Yeah. I'm starting to get more and more into that. I used to have I still kind of do. I have a let's get it done attitude, so I get a little rushy with it, and
Right.
okay, it works for me. Let's move on to the next. But yeah, I want to spend more time just sort of meditating through it
Are you
work
familiar
wise.
with the artist Ian Miller from the UK?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, I really like his stuff.
Yeah. Well, the other
But
thing about your video on your YouTube that you just posted, and there is a link below, and people have to check it out for this other reason, is you were in a metal band named Ancient Fortress.
yeah, yeah, it was
And
just a. I'll carry on. Sorry.
no, go for it. Go for it.
Uh, it was a project. Myself on guitar and vocals, and a friend on
Wow.
drums, and we'd just
Oh
get
my
together
God.
every Saturday, and we wrote about 10 songs, and we used to record our practices. So I wanted something for the background music that was
Perfect.
atmospheric, so I used one of our tracks.
That was
But it was
perfect. It
from back
was.
in 2007.
Yes, because I
So,
found two other songs on YouTube, and was able to listen to, and then, but I think the song on the video you put on, I'm like a big Hawkwind fan,
yeah,
and prog rock, but that early '70s,
right.
concept, and obviously the medieval and the sword and sorcery. It was like Michael Moorcock used to tour with them, and when they did the Black Sword
Yeah,
album, and
I'm familiar with some of their album covers.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, that track particularly had a great like, let's say like literally like a sword and sorcery concept feel, concept
yeah,
prog rock feel. So very nice, very nice to start the day, I should say. I saw that early in the morning.
yeah. There was a a record label in Holland that just do tape only releases, cassette tape,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they put out our rehearsal demo from 2007. So there were 25 copies of it made and put out into the world. And he's got a couple of tracks, those 2 tracks you're talking about. The guy that runs the label, I don't think he has it anymore, but he
Right.
might have started another one.
Right.
But yeah, that was kind of cool.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And you're not doing anything like that right now?
No. No, well, the drummer lost his place where we could practice. It was like a 45-minute drive for me.
Yeah.
So, and then way back when my first daughter was born, we decided to give it a break.
Right.
So I was more needed at home and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I think one of the most... Go ahead.
Oh, and then since then, a place to jam hasn't really been there,
Right. Yeah, I think one of the hardest things to do as a creative is to work with another creative and make music, like really write music. I think it's always been fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I'm not musically inclined myself, but I just have such a grand respect for anybody that can do exactly what you just did.
For artists, it's quite a good social thing to do,
Yeah, because I'm sure that you have some taverns and stuff in your neighborhood you could set up and jam as background music, right?
Oh, probably wouldn't go down too well with what we play. It's an acquired taste, the extreme metal.
Right.
Maybe man. Over in the city, in the past, there's been some stuff like that.
Right. So the update I want to also give you is today, being the 12th of January. I've made some pretty hardcore decisions in timing and developments for the release of the revised edition to this book that I put out in 2018. One of the things that I wanted to give you a heads up with, are you familiar with virgin covers, Drawnsword?
Oh, without the logo on them.
Without the logo. So when I release the collected is all put together and it's ready for release, I'm going to do for each of the artists a special limited edition virgin cover for them, and I'll have more details for all of you guys that are participating, and you'll actually have an advance copy to help me do some of the final edits before we actually get to doing the release for sales of the book. So that's something that I was really excited, and I'm actually starting to think less about Indiegogo and more about a pre-sale on CromTheBarbarian.com. So I actually started doing a little bit of research. I was using ChatGPT to help me kind of figure out cost effectiveness, because one of the things I have a concern with when it comes to doing crowdfunding is it seems like all the attention gets on the crowdfunding and the extra little diddlies that, the stickers and the stretch goals and the so on and so forth that comes along with it, that we kind of lose sight of the real purpose that an artist would be putting this together. But for me, I'm also doing this to give exposure to the guys that I've reached out to, like yourself and David Molina, where I want to get you exposure within the same genre that Sword and Sorcery is. Since it's not a very big genre, and I'm not expecting huge sales on however I end up putting this out into the wild for publication. I wouldn't expect more than 100 or so copies to be sold. So I'm thinking not putting that much energy into a crowdfunder, but doing a pre-sale 1 month event. And maybe if things go right, it would be the month of April. But I am going to sit down tomorrow and actually write out a schedule and officially see if I can put the time. Because I have 4 stories that I'm doing the gray value for, and they're out of out of this original, which I had done the ballpoint pens. So this one's called Conquering Giants. So you can see I've already started doing the gray graphite wash value thing. So I've finished that, and I still have one more to go. So I've got to kind of double down to get some things moving a little quicker. But yeah, I think that's going to be the way I'm going to go. But I'll be keeping you um, up to date, and obviously we're going to get you back on. But before we break from this update, I also wanted to put out there that I'm going to be doing a follow-up Crom anthology, some works that I've had that I also would like to get done. But also in talking to like you and David Molina and some other people that I have yet to get on board, and I'm hoping to get them on board, is maybe being able to get some work of yours as well as others, and do an old school black and white um, anthology collection. But like I said, I'm not putting you on the spot where you have to make a decision. Just putting the information out there, um, and we'll keep people up to date. Which is why I set up the Crom the Barbarian update blog, if you will, is just to keep this thing going. So, with that being said, do you have any questions?
How many pages would you be wanting
It's
people to
over.
contribute?
Like, how many pages to contribute? I would
Yeah.
wanna what I would hope for is like something that would tease people to be able to like let's say like 5 to 7 pages of a story that might be 12 pages long. You know what I mean? Like that kind of math where then it would be like somebody go, oh wow, once they have a copy of Crom Anthology, that they would go, oh wow, and then there would be like a QR code somewhere in the book where they could scan and then get to your website to buy the whole copy of your book, and your work that from there. So it would be teaser sense. Like I'm going to even try to convince Jake to let me put pages from Turbo Pit Fighter in there. So
Oh,
because it's
so
going to be like
it's not a Crom book.
there will be Crom material, but I don't want to keep it. I kind of want to use Crom as like a heavy metal sounding word, like a title.
Oh,
So to kind of move from there, and then I have, like I said, I have some other material. I'm also going to reach out to some other people that have material out there, as well as if some people want to contribute. But what I would also like to see in there, to keep it fun, is other barbarian type of material, sci-fi fantasy, but it being leaning towards the post-apocalyptic. So that kind of helps bring in Turbo Pit Fighter into it. So
well, for a long time, I've been working on an art book. This is possibly going to be the cover. Scoundrels Breed.
nice,
It's
nice.
depicting bounty hunters and their prey in another galaxy. So it just gives
It's
you a lot of
amazing.
freedom to create things.
Now, does this have a name, the character, or are you keeping it a looser just for the interpretation part?
The book's called Scoundrel's Dread.
Right.
It's,
Now,
um,
is that character named? Like, or are you just doing like?
I didn't name that one, no.
Okay. Okay.
But other
Yeah.
ones I have, yeah. So I might have a thing in the back where I put all the names of each piece.
Okay.
But I guess
Okay.
the cover's just called Scoundrel's Dread. But they're not, the
That's right.
characters aren't always named. But I'll give you a bit of a look. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh wow. How many pieces do you have?
Oh, there's, all up, I probably made about 100.
Oh
And
wow. So you're
this book's maybe got about 70. But
okay.
I've got to narrow it down because it'll be too big, and I can't.
What do you mean? What do you mean too big?
Well, I just want to make it like a zine, like a
Oh,
photocopy
okay.
zine.
Oh, okay.
Just keep the costs down, make it cheap to buy, and it does the job. It's all black and white. Because
What about
last
like it?
time
Like it? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I published it was in the 90s, and it was all just photocopy. I did comics, and they were just photocopied. I like that underground feel.
Right.
But if I did a fancy book, it'd probably cost so much that I'd have to crowdfund it.
Well, you could
And
also just
then
do one
I
do
don't.
one on on Amazon as a print on demand.
Yeah, though it ends up being quite expensive, doesn't it?
No, no. I mean, I quoted. I was quoted for 100 black and white pages at 10 by 7, like $5.63. So then you just add your markup on top of it, and then whoever's buying it, it gets a shipping calculation applied to it. But if you have Amazon Prime anywhere in the world, you get free shipping.
Oh well.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
it's a pretty good deal.
you upload the pages to their site.
Yeah, you format the book like in a PDF, and yeah, you just upload it, fill in a whole bunch of stuff, and then voila. Yeah, if you want me to give you a hand, I'll be more than happy to give you a hand on setting some stuff up, because this has got to get out there, and this has got to be accessible to a lot of people. That as soon as they see this, especially if they're H.R. Giger fans, they're gonna want a copy. I know I want a copy.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I really haven't looked that much of his work. Um,
Yeah, I think you
have
would
you
get.
got Have you got his book called Passages?
I don't believe I have any books of his anymore. I did a move years ago and had to really streamline my stuff, and so he unfortunately did not get a. He was not a part of my must-have pile. But yeah, there's so many books out there. That is fantastic.
Yeah, I could go on and on with them.
No, I think you've teased
There's
us. I think you really have. I
still,
think I think you're also going to be in a
still all
position where
that.
people are going to be making comments. They're going to be making comments of when you're going to put this out, and please put a link to how I can get a hold of it, because I'll be the first one in line to get a copies. So that hands down, Drawn Sword, hands down.
Yeah, well, I'm ready to go. I just need to figure it out, eh?
Yeah, well,
Pick
like I
out.
said, off camera, I'll do. If you want me to give you a hand, I'm more than happy to.
Yeah. Is the writing reading to you?
Oh yeah.
The logo, yeah.
And you did that black ink.
No, that's all pencil.
That's
Oh
all
yeah,
pencil.
the title
Oh
was,
yeah.
sorry, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
that's
like,
black ink.
wow. All right. Well, you scared me there for a second because that's some really grinded down with the graphite. But yeah, no, it reads really well. It really does. And as an 8 by 10, 8.5 by 11 or thereabouts, like I guess that's your A3,
A4, yeah.
A4. Um, yeah, that would be a super cool book to have.
They
Because
do,
your work also has such a sequential feel to it. Like it all seems to be jutted up against to the next image. There's no disconnect from going from one image that you've showed me to another. It just all feels like it's in one world.
yeah, yeah, it's sort of with the Scoundrel's Dread, um, it's all one galaxy, but a mighty giant galaxy, sort of like Star Wars.
Right,
But,
right,
yeah, I have another world that, I've got a whole lot of stuff that I've done of just like slice of life in another galaxy scenes.
right,
So that could be another book as well. And
right.
then I've got a kind of a sword and sorcery one as well, which I call uh, Savage Valor. So, I like doing a theme art book and then just
Yeah.
I had it open at first, but I found that if you limit yourself to a theme, you actually get more creative.
Oh, I agree. And you're doing it very well. You're doing it very well.
I also got a comic going too, but there'll be more about that later.
Yeah, don't give it
Yeah,
all. Don't give it all away.
yeah,
Well, Drawnsword, I'm just so happy that I reached out to you, and we've had at least these three uh, little podcasts to get to know each other and chat. And like I said, the reason I've set this all up is to be able to set up a community of like-minded creatives. And with you and David Molina so far, if I can get, I think maybe like 6 or 7 more people, we'll be sitting pretty, and let
yeah,
it grow from there, and help and encourage and get people, because the biggest thing I think all of us are feeling in frustration is there's so much stuff out there. And so getting attention on your own can be not only a great struggle, but it can also be very like disconnecting. It can make people feel like they just don't want to put that much more effort into promoting themselves or constantly yammering and stuff like that. So, with this inaugural book of me doing the revised and some pinups that I've requested from individuals, then I think it'll be very, very nice to see us collect people who really enjoy the old black and white sword and sorcery comic
yeah,
book, magazine style stuff. And I think there's enough people out there. I think at least 100 to 200 people out there that would, once they found us, they would be
yeah. It's just all about
remiss
people
if
finding.
yeah, and
It's
then
like
staying
the
connected to them.
return of Savage sort of Conan magazines had a huge
Yep,
um,
yep,
response.
yeah, yeah. So and as we move along, we'll figure it out, and we'll make things happen. So once again, I just have to thank you for agreeing to get on board and being a part of this. And we'll be back together once I get my material together, and I send you your copy so we can then sit down and have a little flip through and make sure everything is square and ready for the release. So,
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and it's just great what you wanting to do with getting all these artists together and making cool stuff in the black and white and whatnot.
yeah. Well, you're welcome. And with that being said, we'll let people get back to reading comics and making them if they choose. So thanks again, Drawnsword, and we'll catch up soon.
Cheers.